Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. This is your host, Rising Oblivion. First things first, as we get into this video, I'd like to give a big shout out, a big thank you to the people over at ATLUS for giving me an early copy of 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, which is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about how it's coming to Switch. I'm going to give you guys some details about it on Switch, how the game plays, how the game feels, and everything within this. So this is going to be sort of not a full game review, but at least just the first impressions. Maybe talk about this in case if you're a person who wants to get this on Switch or has been thinking about getting this game on Switch. But like I said, big thank you to the people over at ATLUS for giving me an early code for this game. I appreciate working with you guys and all the stuff you do for the community and everything, so thank you so much for that. But let's go ahead and jump into this sort of first impressions of 13 Sentinels. So I have not played this game completely all the way through on PS4 or anything else, so my first impressions were literally of playing this on Switch. So this is going to be a bit of a first impressions, but also showing us on the Switch. So everything you see in the background, the gameplay and everything is going to be on the Switch. Towards the end of the video, I'm just going to let the game play out itself, and you could just chill and relax and see how good the game looks on Switch. Let's just go over some of the just hardware type of things, I guess, when it comes to the Switch. So the game is not very big. It downloaded pretty easy for me. The experience loading up everything was pretty quick. The game's pretty fast. People have done some load comparisons with the Switch version and the PlayStation version, and a lot of times it's not super significant. It's not a huge thing. So if you're trying to debate whether to get this game on the Switch because you want to have it for portability and stuff like that, versus having maybe some better load times on the PS4, trust me, it's not really that big of a deal. Just go ahead and get it on the Switch if that's what you're really wanting to play it on, because the load times and stuff really are not that big of a deal. This game isn't super demanding, although it looks very, very good, but it's not just a very demanding game, and I think they actually formatted this and did it pretty well when it comes to the Switch port of this, so nothing to worry about there when it comes to that. I never experienced any lagging, no glitches, nothing like that at all for the amount of hours that I've played this for. So this is a pretty clean port of this. I know some people have, speculated some ATLUS ports in the past, and people had some issues with SMT3 on the Switch here or there. SMT5 had a few different issues and things, but I've not experienced any issues. I have the standard, just regular Switch. I don't have the light or anything, like the basic, like, red and blue Joy-Cons that came with it, so thing runs fine, runs perfect. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about the game's story, the combat, stuff like that, and see if this is something that maybe this appeals a little bit more to you. This isn't your typical JRPG, and we're going to get into that. And what I mean by it not being a typical JRPG, I actually mean that in the best way possible. I feel like 13 Sentinels is actually a breath of fresh air when it comes to a lot of these same things that we see constantly within the JRPG, just games in general, the fan base and stuff like that. This is done a little bit differently. Not only just the art looks different, how it's sort of this like 2.5D sort of dimensions and stuff like that. It's not perfectly just like 2D or 3D. It's sort of in this in-between sort of place where the environments and the battles, as we can see here in the background, is very 3D, but the character portraits and going around the overworld with the characters and stuff like that is actually in this like 2.5D art style. But it looks really clean and really crisp, and I think because it's not 3D, that is why they're able to do so much when it comes to this game's art style. The lighting and everything looks really good. Through the end of this video, you're going to see a classroom, and it looks super nice. The detailing on it when it comes to the actual sunset and the hues and the dark spots and stuff that you see within the room and on the characters, their eyes and facial expressions and stuff is so good and so nice in comparison to some JRPGs where it is in full 3D and it kind of doesn't look as great when it comes to like natural-ish like environments, and I think this game does a good job with that. So that's graphics, that's the art style, and I think it does differently, but I think it's in a good way. It might not be perfect for you, but I think the art style is worth a shot, and I think this is one of the most prettiest like JRPGs I've ever played, if not maybe the most. It's hard to say. SMT5 I thought was really, really good, but this game might have a beat when it comes to gameplay and also style. But let's move on over to gameplay aspects. So the gameplay isn't necessarily like the perfect, turn-based combat. It's a little bit differently. However, it is still somewhat turn-based. It's not exactly what you think. With the characters being in these like I don't know, Evangelion-like mechs, I guess you could say. I don't know how else to put it. I don't want it to compare it too much to certain things, but it's kind of what it's like. The characters get in these mechs, and they, you know, go into combat and fight. And not only is it just like turn-based stuff, but you also have directional things as well. Not exactly like a tactical turn-based game where you move a certain amount of pieces up, and I don't want to compare this to Monarch, but it does have some similar elements to Monarch, I guess, when it comes to the gameplay style. You choose your action, you choose where you're aiming it at, then you activate the attack itself, and that's basically how this game works when it comes to its combat. But there's different types of moves. Some are like super long range moves, some are like scattering attack type moves. Because you're in these big mechs, you're launching missiles and different attacks like that. I believe there's even some melee attacks and stuff that are also within this game, which I think is super fun for the combat. I obviously, because I haven't completely finished the game, I haven't seen as far as that goes, but from what I could tell, each character has some different stuff, has some different abilities and different things that their specific mechs can do themselves, which is really fun, and I like that. I like some diversity when it comes to the characters. Don't make them all plain and simple and the same and have the exact same moves. That's very boring at times, but it looks like these characters actually have some different moves, different move sets that they actually attack the enemies with, which, like I said, it makes it really fun. I like when I can think and process some things out when it comes to the actual combat. The art style, the music, and the voices also work very well with this game. That's another thing I'd like to talk about, is the voice acting in this game is very good. I've only heard positives from here on out when it comes to the game's story. The game's story, from what I know, is some of the best, because you have different stories of each character which you play through, and you get to learn a lot more about the world and its environments. The voice acting, like I said, is really good. ATLUS tends to do a very good job when it comes to audio stuff. I'm never usually very worried about that, so you can expect the same pretty good voice acting, music as well. It's just the story and some of the other stuff that you kind of have to know whether or not it's going to exactly adhere to your type of style. I really recommend watching this video all the way through and looking past just the battle combat and see if you like the outside type of world art style and how to travel around, because that's where you're going to be spending a decent amount of time on. You know, at least half of the game you're going to be doing that, so definitely take a look at that and figure out if that's the kind of art style that you want to go with, and obviously the combat as well. If you like both of those things, you're probably going to have a really fun time with this. This game runs perfectly fine on Switch, at least from what I've seen. Maybe see if someone else has said anything, but this game ran perfectly fine for me. I had no issues when it came to running this game at all. So that's kind of where I'm at. Runs well, gameplay's pretty good. If you like the art style, you like the art style. Battle system is a little bit different compared to most like fully traditional JRPGs. I know nowadays things are different. People are making different types, but it's a nice breath of fresh air. They say 13 Sentinels is very good. I could do a full actual review of this, but this is kind of just my first impressions for getting this review code and talking about it. I didn't get to fully beat it. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands and a couple other games had kept me anchored down, so I was playing those instead. But I really enjoyed my experience so far with this game. Let me know down in the comment section below. Are you picking up this game? Do you have it on PS4 already? Are you going to get it on Switch? Are you a first-time player for 13 Sentinels? Let me know down in the comment section below what you feel about this game, and enjoy the rest of the gameplay here. Like I said before in the beginning of the video, thank you so much, ATLUS, for the review code for this. I appreciate it, and I love working with you guys. But for the rest of the video, I'm just going to give you some plain footage. You can just watch the game yourself and know for yourself if you want this game. But that's going to be it for you guys. Like, comment, subscribe for more content. As always, I will see you in the next video. Thank you all so much for watching.
Speaking of movies, I brought your video back. Thanks for letting me borrow it.
Already? I just lent it to you yesterday. You wasted no time.
Can you blame me? Giant robots, fights in the city? I was on the edge of my seat.
You sure love mecha, don't you, Jiro?
Here you go. Well, let me know if you have any others to recommend.
Sure, yeah. You've really turned into a movie buff, huh?
Do you think it's too much? Well, now that you mention it, I've been seeing this stuff in my dreams, too.
Yep, definite movie addiction. You're showing all the signs. Soon enough, you won't know the difference between fiction and reality.
Yeah. I think I've seen a movie about that.
Shall we go home, Asami-chan?
Sorry.
Fuyusaka-san's
Got plans
asleep
with
again.
someone.
School's out for the day.
Yes.
Should I wake her up? Come to think of it, in that movie yesterday, the girl piloting the robot looked awfully familiar.
Ew, no, I mean, it is a guy, but...
Yuri-chan met someone
By the
special
way,
too.
I saw that one video.
I'm the only one
The
left.
one you told me about? Really?
You're also lucky with
Yep.
toys.
Gonna rent it?
It's not
I've
fair.
got to. Oh,
Deep
crap.
breaths, Miwako.
Give me a minute. I'll be right back.
It's always something, isn't it? Guess I'll wait here. Wonder what he's up to.
Hold on a sec, Miwako. Did you need something?
Not really.
So as I was saying,
That movie's a hidden gem. It's tough to get a hold of these days. She always seems to be sleeping. It's odd. And then she shows up. I can't help but be a little... Shiba-kun's a butt. He's a good... Hey, Fuyusaka-san. Class is already over.
Kurabe-kun? Thanks.
You were out cold, huh?
Just now, I had another weird dream. And you were there.
Huh? Me? What kind of dream was it?
Well,
Dude,
Huh?
this sucks, man. Can't find Amiguchi anywhere. Wait a minute, what's going on here? You two are looking awfully cozy.
It's not like that.
Oh yeah? Then what's the problem? Don't mind me. Carry on.
Sorry, Fuyusaka-san. Let's talk about this some other time.
yeah.